The Tim Holtz Decile trimmer is like a little, I think it's 8.5 inch. Yeah, it's an 8.5 inch guillotine style trimmer. So if you're familiar with his other like straight edge trimmer, it's the same concept. Like the straight edge trimmer is gray, this one's black, but apart from that, visually they look exactly the same. Obviously the big difference being the style of cut that you get when you put it to use. So his other trimmer, his other tonic trimmer that he has is a straight edge guillotine style trimmer. This one's really cool because it gives a faux torn edge. And it'll be different sort of depending on where on the trimmer you line it up every time you use it. So it's really nice for people who, you know, in the past they used to have those decorative edge scissors. I don't know if you all have been scrapbooking long enough to remember the decorative edge scissors. I'm sure most of you do. The thing about those ones, they're very nice. It gives the same concept of like, you can see, so this is a piece of paper I've cut using that Decile edge trimmer. It just gives a little bit more something besides just a straight edge. So anything that adds a little bit of texture, a little bit of, you know, something that's a nice visual detail without being too dramatic is always a really nice touch to sort of any project compared to, you know, say just a straight edge piece of paper. So it is a really nice look. People used to achieve stuff like this with those decorative edge scissors, but those were a repeating pattern. They were very large, like the scissors give a very deep and dramatic edge. So it was quite a bit heavier of an element to add to your project. It sort of took over a little bit more. This is a really nice, soft, subtle feature that you can apply to whatever project you're working on. It's a bit more delicate, a bit more, I don't want to say modern, but like it's just a trendier way to add that sort of detailed edge as compared to those scissors used to be. It's also super sharp. I know with the decorative edge scissors in the past, like you would, or even if you know, are hand tearing. I know lots of you get very nervous when it comes time. I know a couple crops ago we tore the edges of a paper, and a lot of people, you could see their face start to panic and like their hearts start racing because like people get very nervous about ripping paper, getting messy, things not being perfect and not being in complete control. So this is a really neat way to get sort of that random textured distressed edge without having to have an anxiety attack about ripping your paper yourself. The other really nice thing, if you're going to be hand ripping the edge of your paper or even taking your old decorative edge scissors, you're losing like half an inch to an inch of your paper. If you're hand tearing something, like you have to go in quite a ways before you start ripping to get a tear. You're losing, you know, all this part of my paper I don't even get to use to get the look that I wanted on this side. Whereas with this trimmer, it is so sharp and so accurate. Like, look at how thin that is that it will cut. Not to mention how cute is that as like a border element for a project, but do you see how thin that will cut? So you're not wasting any paper, and even above and beyond that, you can use this little strip that you've just cut as a, or, you know, like a faux ribbon or like a border on a card or across a project. So it's very detailed, very fine, very sharp, and super easy to use. So I'm just really quickly going to cut a couple pieces just to sort of show you what I mean, and that will be that about the demo. So a couple things to note. It is not a repeating pattern like I was saying before with the scissors. So every piece of this trimmer all the way across is all different. So it's not like it's the same tear look up here as down here. So up here, actually, he's left it quite a bit smoother. I'll hold it up against a white sheet of paper so you can see. Like if you look here, there is tearing there. It's not a straight cut, but it is pretty simple. And then as you go farther down the trimmer blade, there gets to be more jagged lines, more of a distressed look. So depending on where you hold your sheet of paper along your trimmer blade, you're going to get a completely different look every time. And it does have the guideline along the bottom and the top of the trimmer. So it's very easy to measure and hold from either the bottom half of the trimmer or the top half of the trimmer. And it has the built-in grid right on the trimmer, which means that you can even, if you really like the torn look in this center chunk here, you can line your piece of paper up by the grid rather than, you know, being stuck with just the top or just the bottom part of the cut. If you really wanted, you know, the tear lines in the center here, you just line your paper up on the grid, and then it has this here to hold down so you can still get your paper to sit nice and sturdy. You're in full control of it. Just push down and chop. So you can use any part of the trimmer to get that torn edge. So it doesn't have to be, you know, the exact same tear, the exact same ridge every time. So it's super random. It looks very natural, and you are still in complete control for all of those people who want that distressed look but are too nervous, or, you know, just don't enjoy it. I mean, if you don't enjoy it, that's the whole point of this crafting business. So this tool is really awesome if you want that look, you want that concept, but you just don't enjoy doing it yourself. And then again, I'll just show you really quick once. My sister just got here, so she's gonna hopefully not be too noisy. Just see how thin you can cut it. So it doesn't take a lot of force to push that down, and you can just get the thinnest, most delicate little lines with this trimmer. So it doesn't have to just be for cutting the edge of a big sheet of paper. You can use it to create a border. You can also use this as almost like a faux mask. Like if you wanted to ink the edges of something, you could cut this torn edge and then hold it down on another project and ink over it and get that sort of perfectly imperfect line rather than a solid edge, if that makes sense.